5 spine-chilling wilderness horror stories revealed. Terrifying encounters in the haunted outdoors. Lisa Hart had always been the type of woman who believed in fairy tales. But as she huddled around the flickering flames of the campfire with her kids, she couldn't shake the feeling that their picturesque weekend in Pine Hollow had twisted into something macabre. Shadows danced at the edge of the trees, whispering secrets only the forest understood. It was the start of their grand reunion, yet, as night fell, the first chilling signs emerged. "Mom, something's watching us," Jack said, his voice barely above a whisper, his 10-year-old bravado slipping away into the night. Mia wrapped her small arms around her brother, her innocent blue eyes scanning the encroaching darkness. The air tasted different here, electric, like it was holding its breath. The campfire sputtered, casting erratic shadows over their faces, making Lisa's heart race. She remembered stories of the woods, how they swallowed families whole. Then she registered it, the half-burnt sign hidden behind a cluster of bushes, barely legible but ominous. "Beware," the remnants warned, "lost souls never returned." The hair on Lisa's neck prickled as she traced its letters. Intertwined with the warped words were remnants of folklore, whispering of disappearances and hauntings. Had she led her children into trouble? Her gut twisted at the thought. "Just a silly sign," she muttered, trying to convince herself. As the last remnants of daylight vanished, the forest was draped in darkness. An unsettling chill crept into the air. And that's when she heard its soft, urgent whispers rustling through the trees, mingling with the crackle of the fire. "Mom, I hear them! They're calling me," Jack said, his wide eyes gleaming with the flickering flames reflecting both wonder and fear. Lisa felt her pulse quicken. "Stay close," she warned, gripping their arms tightly. But Mia was too scared to speak, her small body trembling against her brother. "It's just the wind," Lisa whispered, though she didn't believe it. The whispers intensified, weaving a sinister chant, and in that haunting moment, Lisa wasn't sure if the darkness was nefarious or merely playing tricks. Then the woods rustled, and from beyond the trees, an enigmatic figure emerged. Shrouded in darkness, the figure's penetrating gaze seemed to unravel the very secrets of Lisa's life. "Don't you want them to see how easy it can be?" it hissed, revealing layers of anguish buried beneath her motherly exterior. "You struggle, but they don't have to, do they? Who are you?" she shouted, her voice cracking. But the figure simply smiled with a knowing never witnessed before. "Your past, those whispers, they can make you whole again." Lisa's heart raced as shadows swirled, obscuring its shape. The whispers returned, this time more personal, echoing her name, Jack's, Mia's, luring them deeper into the woods. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Lisa felt paralyzed. Her instincts screamed danger, but the allure of the whispers was seductive. "Jack, stay by me!" she cried, but it was too late. The pull of those familiar voices grew stronger. Jack's astonished face turned towards the darkness. He felt it too. Mia clutched her brother tighter, terror evident in her trembling. Just when Lisa thought it couldn't get worse, a distant figure lunged from the shadows, no more than a silhouette cloaked in the night, an echo of past horrors. "Run!" echoed through the trees, but the command didn't come from Lisa. Panic surged through her veins. This was a warning. Buried in the whispers, a malevolence loomed over them, ready to crush whatever hope remained. And in that moment, Lisa realized they were not alone. The chilling truth began to unravel, revealing an evil deeper than she could have ever imagined, a truth she was not prepared to face. The shadows leaned closer, hungry and relentless. Lisa felt the world around her shift, the ground trembling beneath her feet. The faintest breath of air brushed against her cheek, chilling her to the bone. She could barely see the children now, their figures blending into the thickening gloom as if the night itself was swallowing them whole. "Mom?" Jack's voice trembled, a faint call lost in the cacophony of rustling leaves and distant whispers. "Jack! Mia! Stay where you are!" Lisa shouted, her heart racing. A lump formed in her throat as the voice from the darkness, that damned figure, continued to taunt them from its hidden recess. "How easy, how tempting!" it hissed, drifting through the trees like a phantom. The whisper wrapped around Lisa, squeezing her heart tighter. Mia's small hands slipped through Lisa's grip, and in that fleeting second of panic, Lisa's deepest fears came rushing to the surface. "Mom! I want to go home!" Mia wailed, her face twisting with confusion and terror. A paralyzing dread gripped Lisa. They were trapped in this dark embrace, and the forest felt alive, breathing and waiting. "Don't move!" Lisa commanded, but she could see the shadows shifting around them. Shapes fluttered, rising and falling like shadows at dusk. Tendrils of darkness reached out toward her children, wanting their warmth. She felt an unshakable urge to protect them, but the whispers were growing louder, drowning out her thoughts. "Stay with me!" Then came a sharp crack, like thunder from nowhere. The figure stepped forward, its features obscured in waves of darkness, but Lisa could see it now. It had the semblance of a woman, or something that once was a distorted version of herself, eyes hollow, devoid of love. "Join us, Lisa. They will be safe, you can let them go." The creature beckoned, its voice twisting into something more sinister, a melody woven with malice. "No! You don't care about them!" Lisa screamed, shaking her head desperately. It felt as if the forest itself was listening, anticipating a decision only she could make. Something pulled at her core, a longing to escape, but at what cost? The forest roared to life, branches snapping as unseen forces rallied against her. Her children stood there, wide-eyed, trembling, waiting for her to choose. "Mom! I can't hear you!" Jack shouted as the sound of the whispering rage grew, drowning out all reason. "Listen to me! We're going to leave!" She turned, gripping the children's hands like they were lifelines. "We have to go now." But the creature stepped closer, and the air thickened with the scent of damp earth and decay. "You think you know the path home, but the woods will twist it just like your heart." Lisa could feel the forest close around them, its branches like claws ready to pull them into the dark. The warning echoed in her mind: the souls that wandered here never returned. But before she could run, shadowy arms of the forest reached out, wrapping around her children. "No!" Lisa yelled, her voice breaking as she lunged for Jack and Mia, yanking them back. But the shadows pulled harder, dragging at her feet, consuming the light. "M.O.M." Jack screamed, and then everything fell into chaos. A blinding flash pierced the darkness, and Lisa felt a surge of hope. She turned the children, her voice raw with determination. "Follow me. Don't look back." They stumbled through the underbrush, branches scratching at their skin like claws reaching for lost souls. With every step, the whispers turned to wails, pulling at her sanity. Give and let go, and then all went silent. The stillness was deafening, as if the entire forest was holding its breath. Ahead, a low glow flickered. The outline of what looked like a cabin emerged through the trees, a shelter in the nightmare. But as they ran towards it, panic clawed at Lisa's chest. What if it was another trap? What if they were too late? They reached the door, and she pushed it open, heart racing. The moment they stepped inside, the cries of the forest fell silent, a stillness that was almost worse than the chaos. But then, from behind her, she heard it again. The whisper echoed through the cabin walls, chilling her soul. "Your past is waiting, are you ready to let it in?" Lisa slammed the door shut, but terror festered inside her. One choice echoed in her mind, reverberating like a heartbeat: was there really a way out? And what price would she pay for keeping her children safe? In that moment, she knew she had to uncover the truth of this cursed place, or risk losing everything she held dear. Time was slipping through her fingers like sand, and danger lurked just beyond the door. What lay ahead would change them forever if they survived. The cabin stood like a broken tooth in the suffocating silence of the dark forest, its wooden walls splintered and rotting. Lisa's heart hammered loudly in her chest as she turned, the soft glow of the flickering candle casting eerie shadows. Jack and Mia clung to her, their frightened eyes wide as they took in their surroundings. The air inside was thick and stale, filled with the scent of unswept dust and something else, something metallic that turned her stomach. "I don't like this, Mom," Jack whispered, his voice barely a tremor. "I know," Lisa breathed. "But we have to stay calm. We need to figure out what is happening here." Despite the silence, something felt alive in this place, as if the walls were straining to hear their every move. Lisa moved cautiously forward, ready to shield her children if the shadows outside decided to wage war again. She spotted a kitchen table, its surface coated in grime, but a few jarring objects still cluttered on it: an old, tarnished knife, a broken doll, and a diary with a cracked leather cover. The diary called to her, a siren song of curiosity in this desolate setting. She reached for it, her fingertips trembling as she picked it up. "Mom, what is that?" Mia asked, peering over her shoulder. "Just an old book. I want to see if it has anything useful." Lisa opened it, the pages dry and yellowed. Her eyes scanned the faded ink, searching for any clue about the place. As she read, unease gnawed at her. The first few entries described mundane life, but then the tone shifted. The ink turned darker, words pressing against each other like hysteria. "The woods, they know your name," one entry read. "They hunger for your soul," another warned about the voices that echoed in the trees at night, promising safety in exchange for a price: freedom for the forsaken. "Mom, can we leave?" Jack's voice cracked, pulling Lisa back. Just as she closed the diary, a loud bang echoed outside, rattling the windows, followed by a low, grating laugh that seeped into the cabin, crawling under their skin. "Stay here!" Lisa barked, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She moved to the door, hand poised on the handle. The laughter continued, a cruel melody that wrapped around her like cold chains. "Mom, don't open it!" Mia shrieked, fear lacing her tiny voice. With a shaky breath, Lisa hesitated. What awaited them out there? The forest had already shown its teeth. Yet, curiosity itched at her mind, mingling with the bitter need to know if any threat was real. "Maybe it's just the wind," Jack suggested, glancing nervously at Mia, who was shaking, hugging herself tightly. Before she could decide, the door suddenly burst open, and the shadows rushed in, long fingers stretching toward her. Lisa let out a gasp but stood firm, shielding her children with her body. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if tasting the air, then surged forward, their whispers exploding into a cacophony, all blending and distorting. "Let them go, join us," they chanted, an echoing chorus that drowned out her thoughts. "Mom!" The urgency in Mia's voice broke through the noise, and Lisa felt the raw edge of panic gripping her heart. With pure instinct, she grabbed the children and backed away from the door, pulling them deeper into the cabin. They ended up in a small bedroom, the air thick and oppressive. On the wall hung a painting, obscured by a veil of dust. Lisa brushed it away, revealing a horrifying scene: a family, eerily similar to them, trapped within a thicket of angry trees, faces contorted in fear and despair. "They didn't leave," Jack whispered, his voice trembling. No, fear twisted through Lisa's gut. "We have to find a way out of here." The whispers grew louder outside, pummeling the cabin's defenses. Lisa could almost feel those unseen eyes boring into them, and every second felt like a countdown. Jack's hand tightened in hers. Mia squeezed her other arm, both of their faces pale and drawn. The walls felt like they were closing in, shadows lurked in every corner. "Mom, what do we do?" Mia whimpered, tears glistening in her eyes. "I don't know, but—" "We can't stay," the whispers stopped suddenly. A chilling silence clawed at the back of Lisa's mind. That stillness thrummed with an unnatural energy, building to a sickening tension. She knew the forest awaited their next move. It demanded the truth: was escape truly possible when everything felt so predetermined? Then, a thump came from outside, followed by a slow scrape, as if someone was trying to enter. "Mom!" Jack's voice broke her thoughts, his eyes wide with terror. Before she could respond, A shadow shifted in the doorway, a familiar silhouette outlined framed by undulating darkness. It stepped inside, revealing a face that turned Lisa's blood to ice, a face she thought she'd left behind, one now twisted with malevolence. "Welcome home, Lisa," it whispered, the voice echoing with a sinister familiarity. Was this nightmare finally catching up to her? The answer, and the consequences, were about to reveal themselves. The figure lingered in the doorway, the flickering light casting sickly shadows across its features. Lisa's breath hitched. She'd known this face, had once loved it before it had turned into a haunting reminder of her worst nightmares. Anger and betrayal twisted in her gut, battling the primal instinct to flee. "Go away!" she shouted, her voice splintering the thick air around them. "Why would I? We're finally together, after all this time." The darkness coiled around the figure, giving it an almost liquid quality. Insidious whispers slipped from its lips, drawing Lisa closer, like a poisonous vine ensnaring her mind. "Mom, please," Mia whimpered, burying her face against Lisa's side. Jack's grip on her hand tightened, his heart racing. This wasn't the reassuring figure of their past, but a perverse parody of his former self, surrounded by an aura of dread. "Be careful, Lisa," he spoke softly, but there was something wrong in his tone. "You wanted to leave. Remember that." The shadow loomed larger as the entity moved forward, melting into the room, invading their space. "They tried to tear us apart," it growled, its voice dropping into a low hiss. "But look where we are now." Lisa's heart raced. How had this happened? The forest, the cabin, it was all somehow connected. This malevolence had waited for her, for the chance to drag her back into the abyss. "No!" she shouted, backing away with her children, urgency coursing through her veins. The twisted face reflected back a grotesque mixture of her past happiness and the horror of their current situation, all while the darkness swirled like a living entity. "We can be whole again," it whispered too sweetly, a promise coated in menace. "Only if you're willing to pay the price." Before Lisa could respond, shadows from the corners of the room elongated, reaching for her and the children. Fear gripped her. "We'll never give in!" she screamed, pushing her kids behind her. "You aren't him!" Suddenly, a cacophony erupted outside, as if the forest itself had been awakened by her defiance. The oppressive stillness shattered into a frenzy of rustling leaves, low growls, and something primal that clawed at the edges of sanity. The figure jerked, seemingly sensing the disturbance with a flinch, its features twisting in rage. "You've summoned them," it hissed, eyes blazing with fury. "Now you will pay." "Mom!" Jack cried out, tugging at her sleeve. "We need to get out, Mom!" Mia echoed, tears streaming down her face. It was true, escape was their only hope. With renewed desperation, Lisa scanned the room, searching for a way out. The door was still open but filled with darkness, crawling toward them, preparing to strike. Then, she remembered the window. It was small, but perhaps they could fit through. "This way," she urged, leading her trembling kids toward it. The figure lunged, its form writhing like smoke, just as Lisa reached the window. She felt the icy claws grasping for her, tugging at her clothes, at her mind, trying to pull her back into a perverse reality she didn't belong to. "Mom! Hurry!" Jack shouted, his voice cracking with panic. With a shuddering lurch, Lisa boosted Mia up towards the window. But as she did, a rough hand grasped her wrist, the touch sending chills of terror down her spine. "You can't escape," the voice cooed, no longer a person, but a dark echo of her fears. "No!" Lisa screamed, yanking her arm free. Mia slipped through the opening, and Lisa turned to Jack, her heart breaking. "Go, Jack! You have to go!" He looked between her and the figure, pure childlike fear etched across his face. "I can't leave you! You have to! Now!" Just as she pushed him, something dark thundered from outside, like the very earth was shaking. The malevolent figure laughed, an awful sound that rattled the walls. "Leave her, Jack! It's not safe!" Mia cried out from the other side. In that horrifying moment, Lisa watched Jack take a breath to scream as a fresh wave of shadows surged around him, dragging him back. No! She screamed, lunging for him, but it was as if an unseen force was holding her back. She was losing him. Losing her baby to the void. Mom! Jack's voice echoed, then it was swallowed by the darkness as the shadows consumed him. The laughter intensified, a symphony of despair, as Lisa scrambled through the window and into the shadows, desperate to pull him back from whatever abyss awaited. As they raced into the forest, the air thick with dread, Lisa's thoughts spun. What awaited them in the darkness? Would they find Jack again, or had the shadows truly claimed him? The forest loomed, shrouded in whispers and growls, the laughter ringing in her ears. One thing was unmistakable: she wasn't just running from the darkness, she was being hunted. And now, they were not alone. A chilling realization pierced through her as she ran. What if the forest was not only hungry for souls but hungry for her family's very essence? Just a few steps forward, she froze. From the depths of the forest, a haunting melody began to play. A siren's call. What price would they need to pay to survive this nightmare? The trees closed in, their branches clawing at the sky. Lisa felt the weight of the darkness pressing down on her, suffocating her hope. Jack was out there somewhere, swallowed by shadows that breathed and twisted like a living nightmare. She looked at Mia, her eyes wide and terrified. We have to keep moving, Lisa urged, her voice shaking. Through the intermittent cracks of moonlight, whispers echoed all around. Distant howls mingled with the melody, a soft, chilling song that echoed through the trees like a siren's lure. Each note teased at her consciousness, tugging at her memories, the sound of Jack's laughter on summer days, the bedtime stories she used to tell him. But those memories began to warp, darkening into something grotesque. Mom? Mia's voice trembled. Listen, Lisa whispered, straining her ears. In that moment, the air thickened, and the song grew louder, almost jubilant, a contrast to the terror that coursed through her veins. Then came the laughter again, louder this time, like a taunt from the shadows. Lisa felt her blood freeze. It was the same cackle that had filled the cabin. Each sound echoed Jack's name, twisting and twisting into a mockery of everything she loved. Mia, hold on tightly to me, Lisa said, pulling Mia closer. We can't lose each other. As they pressed deeper into the heart of the forest, darkness enveloped them. The trees shifted, forming pathways that twisted against each other, making escape increasingly futile. And the melody, it was everywhere, wrapping around them like a silken thread, enticing and repulsive. Mom, I can't bear it! Mia screamed, clutching her head. It's too loud. The howl of the wind shrieked through the branches, but the song continued, a hypnotic drone that seeped into Lisa's bones. You have to focus, Mia! We can't give in! Lisa shouted, battling the chaos around them. They stumbled forward, keeping their footing on the uneven ground. Just then, a figure darted in the corner of Lisa's vision. She turned, heart leaping. Was it Jack? Hope flared, then extinguished as she realized it was just a shadow shifting in the dim light. The trees seemed to tremble collectively, whispering secrets she wasn't meant to hear. With every heartbeat, she felt something watching them, stalking them, a predator reveling in the thrill of the hunt. Do you hear that? Mia gasped, her eyes wide. What? Lisa wondered, narrowing her focus. Mia pointed. The sound had stopped. Silence fell, cold and oppressive. The absence of the siren's call made her skin crawl. Then, out of the stillness, a scream pierced the night, a child's voice echoing from somewhere deep within the darkness. Mom! Time froze. Jack! Lisa yelled, fear plunging into her chest like an icy dagger. We have to go. It's him. They sprinted, driven by pure desperation. Lisa's breath came in quick gasps, her heart thundering in her ears. Each twisted branch seemed to reach out, trying to snag her clothes, but she kept pushing ahead, every step a prayer, every whispered name a promise. Then suddenly, they emerged into a clearing. The moon hung low, a sickly pale orb illuminating the space, but it cast more shadows than it chased away. Mia, what do we do? Lisa pleaded, panic clawing at her throat. Mia's gaze darted through the darkness. I don't know. Then they heard it again, the melody. But this time, it held a different tone, a darker undercurrent woven in. Lisa's heart raced with realization this song was a call to arms, mobilizing the darkness around them. Run, Mia! We need to find Jack now. As they turned to flee back into the trees, the shadows converged. The laughter returned, rippling through the air, nearly tangible among the encroaching darkness. And in that laughter, Lisa heard something else, a familiar voice, laced with sorrow and malice. Why did you leave me? It echoed. As icy fingers wrapped around Lisa's wrist, dragging her back, she gasped, No! And for the first time, she truly understood the price of their freedom. With a scream, she wrenched her arm free just as a shadow lunged for Mia. Let her go! But another melody formed, a sinister blend of their voices. Jack's laughter mingled with the darkness, urging them to succumb. Mia, hold on! As Lisa yanked her daughter close, they stood at the edge of the forest, facing something far greater than they had prepared for. A massive shape loomed ahead, twisting painfully in the moonlight, a silhouette of their family, splintering into countless shadows. Run, the shadows beckoned. Stay, they whispered. And then, Lisa knew. It wasn't just fighting the darkness anymore. It was fighting what they were about to become. Mom! Mia screamed again, pulling at Lisa's hand. What are we going to do? But before Lisa could answer, the earth trembled beneath them, and the ground split open. What if the forest could feed on their fears, drawing strength from their despair? What if Jack was waiting, not to be found, but to become one with the darkness? And the next moment, they were seized by the shadows, dragged toward the wide, gaping chasm of doom. Lisa yanked on Mia's hand, adrenaline surging through her veins as they were pulled closer to the nightmarish void. Desperation clamped around her heart like a vice. Let go of us! She screamed. The words tore from her throat, raw and desperate. With each passing second, the chasm threatened to swallow them whole. Mia's grip tightened. I can't! I can't! She cried, her face pale with fear. The shadows clenched around them like icy tendrils, caressing their skin with an unnatural chill that made Lisa shiver uncontrollably. The laughter echoed around them, circling like vultures, and mixed with the insistent whispering, Join us. Join him, Jack! Lisa shouted again, but her voice dissolved into the cacophony as the darkness roared. They fell. Lisa felt the ground beneath her collapse, her stomach lurching with a sickening twist as they were plunged into a bottomless pit of darkness. Time lost all meaning, the air thickened, and it felt as though they were descending through layers of fear itself. As they spiraled deeper, flashes of memories flickered in the shadows, Jack's first steps, his giggles, the warmth of family dinners. Those vivid moments turned dark, morphing into twisted versions of their reality. As they landed, surprisingly on solid ground, it was worse than she had imagined. The clearing was visceral, teeming with shadows that churned and writhed like restless spirits. They stood inside a bizarre amphitheater, created by the twisted roots and gruesome faces of the trees, looming tall like spectators to their torment. Mom! Mia clung to her, eyes darting around. What is this place? I don't know, Lisa whispered, feeling her voice tremble. They could hear the cacophony of whispers now, louder, more demanding. We need to find a way out. We need. The shadows pulsated with life, darting closer. Stay with us, they cooed, the voices sounding eerily familiar, laced with Jack's laughter once more. Mia whimpered, and as Lisa looked down at her, she saw the reflection of her own terror mirrored in her daughter's wide eyes. Stay together, Mia, she insisted, gently but firmly. We need to stick together. Suddenly, a flicker of light appeared in the darkness, a figure breaking through the twisted shadows. Lisa's heart leaped and shattered at the sight. There was Jack, a smile stretched wide across his face, yet it was painted in something unnerving. A grin that made her stomach turn. Mom! Mia! He shouted, but his voice was different, warped. The words were laced with something sinister. He stepped closer, But Lisa caught a glimpse of something lurking behind him, shadows whispering, writhing, hungry for what was once a bond of love. Jack! You're here! Lisa stammered, hope tinged with dread. He lifted his hand as if to beckon them forward, but the shadows danced with a malevolent glee. Come play with me, he sang, but his eyes were voids, reflecting the all-consuming darkness. No! Lisa screamed, dragging Mia back. Stay away from him. He's not our Jack. Panic clawed at her throat as she pulled Mia closer, but dread seeped into her bones. Mom! I want to go to him. Please, Mia, listen to me. Lisa's voice cracked. That isn't Jack. Don't trust them. But the shadows swirled faster now, weaving tighter around Jack, who laughed, a twisted echo that sent a chill through her core. Come, Mom! Come, Mia! We can be a family again. The air thickened with his words. Lisa stumbled back, her mind racing. We have to run. Move! A sudden roar erupted around them, mixing with Jack's laughter, shaking the very ground below. The shadows began to reach out, grasping at their feet. Mia, run! Lisa shouted, her heart pounding like a drum. She turned ready to sprint, but the shadows pushed heavily against her, like drowning in a murky tide. Lisa took a deep breath and grasped Mia's hand tightly, her heart clashing against her chest. They had to escape, but would there be a way? Would they rise above the chorus of laughter and darkness? As they turned to flee, Jack's figure surged forward, no longer the child she loved, but a gathering of shadowy hue, threatening to engulf them. Don't abandon me! He wailed, the words transforming into a haunting crescendo of despair that filled Lisa with an unshakable dread. Mia! She shouted, feeling the shadows closing in, suffocating, wanting them to dive deeper into despair. Then, above the chaos and horror, she heard it, a soft, undeniable call, resonating through the darkness, but this time, it was clear. Mom! And as they sprinted for the woods once more, a new realization dawned. Jack wasn't lost. He was calling for them, not just for a reunion, but to unite them all as one with the darkness. What would Lisa choose? The harbinger of hope, or the tantalizing abyss? As the shadows lunged, Lisa's heart raced, knowing the true terror awaited them just beyond the light. Hold on, Mia! She yelled as they surged forward, the forest itself crying for their descent. The forest loomed like a monstrous entity as they ran, the silhouettes of twisted trees closing in like claws. Each stride was a battle, the shadows clawing at their heels, whispering things Lisa dared not comprehend. The deeper they plunged into the darkness, the more the air felt heavy, as if it wanted to squeeze the life from them. Mom, I can't keep running! Mia gasped, her small legs struggling to keep pace. Just a little further, sweetheart, Lisa urged, desperation fueling her voice. She could feel the shadows dancing behind them, hungry for their fear, for their despair. It gnawed at her, an insatiable hunger that made the ground feel unsteady beneath her feet. Suddenly, the laughter returned, swirling around them in taunting echoes, worming its way into her mind. Join him! Join us! The words wrapped around her like a serpent, squeezing tighter, stirring her panic. Not again! Lisa cried out, skidding to a stop. She turned to face the darkness, determination hardening her features. You will not take us! Mia whimpered beside her, eyes wide and glistening with tears. Mom? What's happening? They want to confuse us, Mia. They want to hurt us. Lisa's voice shook, but she held her ground, forcing herself to look at the shadows. They writhed as if with their own life, whispering lies that clawed at her sanity. Just then, a bone-chilling sound ripped through the air, a chorus of voices, all distorted and twisted, merging into one. Mom! Mia! Come home! It was Jack. The real Jack? Or another deception? Back to me, the voices lured Lisa, as if a dark spell wrapped around her mind. She felt her resolve falter, but she fought against it. No! You're not him! We can be a family again! The shadowy figure of Jack insisted, his outline morphing, creating a grotesque mockery of the child she remembered. "Stay away from him!" Mia screamed, pulling at her mother's sleeve, the terror spilling like ink from an overturned bottle. "Focus, Mia! We need to run!" And they ran. They ran deeper, the shadows twisting and turning, leading them into what felt like a labyrinth of darkness. Gnarled branches reached down, trying to snatch at their hair, their clothes, but they stumbled on, the thin line of moonlight guiding them like a beacon. Then, ahead, a flicker of clearing bathed in an eerie glow that seemed to pulsate. "This way," Lisa urged, desperation driving her forward. They broke into the clearing, and for a fleeting moment, swallowed by the light, it felt as though they had escaped. But the shadows were relentless, pouring in like a storm, whispering faster, demanding. "Join us!" The flickering light began to dim, and with it, the shadows closed in, surrounding them with an oppressive force. Lisa felt as if she were suffocating, panic clawing its way up her throat. "Mia, listen to me!" she shouted, dropping to her knees to meet her daughter's fearful gaze. "We can't let them win. We have to fight." "No! I want Jack!" Mia's wail shattered Lisa's resolve. In that moment, the shadows stopped, as if suspended in a moment of heightened anticipation. The figure of Jack, now mere feet away, loomed larger, shadows pooling at his feet like a puddle of darkness waiting to swallow everything. "Come home, Mommy, it's safe here," he cooed, the words drenching her in both longing and dread. Lisa's heart hammered, torn between the love of a mother and the gut-wrenching knowledge deep down that this wasn't her son. But then, a flicker inside her surged. "No! This isn't safe! We aren't safe!" The shadows shrieked, a horrid cacophony that sent waves of ice through her veins. "Join us!" Her mind raced. She had to awaken her daughter from this trance. "Mia, listen! You have to remember who Jack really is. He loves us." And as the echoes of the shadows deepened, she felt the tension swell. It was her choice to make. In that split second of decision, time slowed. The darkness bristled, ready to pounce, daring her to take that final step. "Mommy! Help me!" Mia shrieked, the plea cutting through the chaos. The shadows lunged forward, threatening to consume them whole. What would it take for Lisa to break the spell? To protect her daughter, to save Jack, or to obliterate the shadows' hold once and for all? As they closed in, pain and light intermingled, the world beginning to dissolve around her in a symphony of shadows and desperate cries. Lisa inhaled deep, feeling the last threads of hope slip through her fingers. Would she shatter the illusion, or blend into the darkness forevermore? "Mom!" A final, plaintive scream echoed and the forest hushed, waiting for the choice that would change everything. The shadows lunged, a swirling mass of dark tendrils reaching for Lisa and Mia as if eager to snatch them into the depths. Lisa felt a chill seep into her bones, its icy fingers encouraging her to give in, to drop her guard. Dread clawed at her heart, each heartbeat drumming louder as they echoed in her ears. "Don't look away, Mia!" The urgency danced on Lisa's lips, pushing her voice through the numbing grasp of terror. Her daughter crouched near her, eyes wide with anguish, caught between the illusion and the reality that was spiraling with every passing moment. The jagged outline of Jack inched closer, his form flickering, sometimes a reflection of the sun she craved, other times a dreadful reflection of something malicious. "Mommy, I'm so lonely," he whispered, and a dozen emotions twisted inside Lisa. Guilt surged at the faint hope this might be her Jack, the son she lost. "Just come home." "No!" Lisa shouted, forcing her eyes away from the boy's face twisted by shadows. "We can't trust it." Her hands shook as she squeezed Mia's shoulder, drawing her daughter's attention back to the safety of their bond. "Remember what we talked about, Mia? Family is not just blood. It's love." But Mia's small fingers trembled, and she clutched her mother's arm with desperation. "Mom, please!" The shadows buzzed with impatient whispers, feeding on their sentiments. Time felt like a rubber band stretched to its limit, holding her between two worlds, one where her son was lost, and one where the darkness promised reunion. "This isn't love. It's a trick." With an instinctive push, Lisa grabbed Mia's hand, yanking her closer. Stay with me. Focus on our love, not theirs. As they stood their ground, the shadows recoiled at her determination, swirling like a tempest. The wailing grew louder, creating an orchestra of despair that threatened to drown out her thoughts. And then, a flicker of anger ignited within Lisa. You will not take my family. Not today! Each word rang with defiance, echoing through the dark corridors of the forest. Suddenly, the ground beneath them pulsed in response, sending a tremor that made trees sway ominously. A deafening silence followed her proclamation, the shadows frozen. Lisa's heart raced. Had she found the chink in their armor? But just as hope surged, the familiar laughter returned, seeping back into the stillness. It was a cacophony of her son's voice, warping and twisting. Mommy, you're hurting me. Please come help me. The desperation was palpable, like thorns wrapping around her heart. Don't listen! Lisa shouted against the onslaught of chaos, filling her lungs, the air thick and stale. Fight it, Mia! We can't look back. But Mia's eyes glistened with tears. I don't want to lose you too. Then you have to trust me. In that instant, a crash echoed from the shadows. The momentary stillness shattered. Something moved, something large, clawed, and grotesque. They felt it before they saw it, heavy breaths rasping from unseen lips. The ground shook again, as if the forest itself was suffering under the weight of ancient terror. Lisa inhaled, steadied her grip on Mia's hand, and searched for a way to safeguard her daughter's spirit. Think of the day at the lake. Remember how we laughed? Splashing water, making memories. Mia whimpered, drawing her gaze from the mounting dread. Slowly, the glimmer of recognition flickered in her eyes. But the shadows were relentless, rearing up all around them as Jack's figure began to distort further, swirling into a nightmare. Mom! You're just leaving me. You're just like them. The blackness pulsed thicker, a surging wave with no end in sight, and Lisa screamed, Hold on to the light. Remember, the forest roared back to life, the darkness now a living beast snarling around them. Gnarled tree limbs clawed at the air, branches snapping as if they were alive and eager to snatch them away. Mia! Lisa reiterated, her voice shrill with urgency. Don't let them take you. Remember our love. Focus! And just like that, Lisa felt an electrifying charge run through her, connecting her to Mia. An overwhelming wave of emotion illuminated the void. Together. But with every heartbeat, the darkness stirred, leaning into her resolve as if seeking the final crack to shatter their bond. Would light prevail in this battle against the encroaching dark? A final scream split the air, a dance with shadows that would determine their fate. The scream hung in the air like a thick fog, freezing time and wrapping them in despair. Lisa tightened her grip on Mia's small hand, her heart racing as the shadows recoiled momentarily, sensing the surge of defiance in their bond. The wind howled through the trees, the sound twisting into something almost human, almost pleading. Mommy! Jack's voice echoed again, the pitch warping into something dark and sinister. Why won't you help me? The shadows danced with excitement, feeding on Lisa's anguish. Each word from the faceless figure pulled at her resolve, wrapping around her chest like a vice. Stay focused on each other, Mia! She yelled, trying to hold the fraying strands of hope together. The sight of Jack flickered before her, a mirage tangled in the web of shadows, teeth glistening in the muted light. Remember the time we built that sandcastle? Yet the shadows laughed, a clattering chorus mocking her memories. You left him! They hissed, wrapping around her ankles. The coldness seeped higher, an icy touch creeping up towards her knees. You choose this child over him. No! Lisa prayed against the darkness, fighting against the suffocating despair. I choose our love. I would never abandon Jack. But doubt began to snake through her heart. What if she was sealing her fate? Panic struck like lightning, igniting her every sense. Her breathing quickened, and her body trembled as she faced the relentless mass surrounding them. Mia! She urged, her voice hoarse. Think of the firelight, our stories in the dark. No matter what they say, we are together! Amid the chaos, the shadows seemed to recede slightly, quelling the roar of the laughter. Lisa felt Mia's hand tighten, the warmth of her daughter's spirit lightening the frigid air that surrounded them. She sensed the teenage girl inside of Mia fighting back against fear. The oppressive darkness began to part, revealing a clearer, albeit chilling view of the forest. In that moment, a new sound pierced through the silence, a low growl, deep and guttural, resonating from somewhere deeper within the woods. An ominous vibration echoed, tugging at their fear and amplifying the tension. "What is that?" Mia whispered, the courage in her voice thinning. "I don't know," Lisa murmured, feeling the weight of dread settle heavily on her shoulders. The ground trembled beneath them again, making Lisa stumble, dragging Mia down with her. The shadows swirled frantically, excited by their uncertainty. Then, from the corner of her eye, Lisa caught movement, a flash of something shifting within the dark underbrush. A hulking mass loomed, eyes glowing like embers in the night. It slinked forward, blending with the shadows yet somehow standing apart from them. Its breath was ragged, each inhale sounding like a monstrous growl, and as it stepped into the dim light, its elongated limbs seemed stitched together from horrors unknown. "Mia, get behind me!" Lisa commanded, fear clenching her throat as the creature edged closer, its darkened face obscured, but its presence unbearable. "Mommy," Mia's voice wavered, and Lisa felt her daughter trembling against her back. There was something in the creature's approach, an intent filled with malevolence. "Stay close," Lisa urged, throwing a protective arm around Mia. The heartbeats of both mother and daughter pulsed in sync with the approaching entity, the fear weaving them tighter. The moment stretched, every breath heavy with the reality of their perilous situation. Suddenly, the shadows erupted around them in a chaotic frenzy. Tendrils whipped out, aiming for Mia, but Lisa stood her ground, heart pounding against her ribs. A fierce scream erupted from her as she thrust her arms outward, defiant. "Not today!" And just like that, a blinding light exploded from her embrace with Mia, radiating through the night, shredding the darkness like paper. The entity recoiled, snarling as it was pulled back into the shadows, vanished into the very depths it had emerged from. Breathless, Lisa and Mia stood together in the fading darkness, the pulsating fear still echoing in their ears. But they had fought back for now. What other horrors lurked behind that wall of shadows? What awaited them as they forged ahead, their love tested but unbroken? A night that would determine everything still lay ahead. The shadows hissed and twisted around them, but Lisa felt a surge of strength, a bond forged from love and desperation. "We faced the darkness together," she whispered to Mia, her voice steady, despite the echoing chaos around them. "We can face this too." Mia nodded, determination sparking in her teary eyes. The shadows encroached, but the blinding light from Lisa's embrace flickered like a beacon, pushing the darkness back, amplifying their resolve. In that moment, Lisa understood that love was their greatest weapon, the light against the shadows that sought to engulf them. One step at a time, they ventured deeper into the murky heart of the forest, the air thick with ghosts of the past. Each whisper became a taunt, every rustling leaf a reminder of what might have been lost. But Lisa pressed forward, leading Mia with unyielding conviction. "Look!" Mia whispered, pointing to a clearing up ahead. In that space, bathed by a haunting silver light, figures flickered through the trees. "Jack!" She tugged at Lisa's hand, desperation coursing through her veins. But as they neared, the figures morphed into shadowy mirages, flickering in and out of focus, voices taunting them. Lisa's heart sank. "Those aren't Jack. They're just illusions. What do we do?" Mia cried, panic rising like a tidal wave. "Focus on each other. Remember the bond we have. Close your eyes, Mia," Lisa instructed, steadying her breath. "Think of all the moments we treasure. Picture Jack, picture him alive." As they stood together, eyes shut tight, the forest roared with rage, shadows swirling violently around them. But they stood firm against the tide, anchored by their memories. Mia's small voice trembled. "I remember building that sandcastle, swimming at the lake, playing tag, all of us together." And with every memory, a flicker of light sparked, illuminating the darkness that pressed against them. Lisa joined in, Jack's laughter. Family dinners. Our adventures. The shadows screeched, their whispers now desperate, begging for their attention. Don't you want him back? But now, their intimacy, their love, illuminated the clearing, cutting through the chaos. Together, it created a barrier that staved off the darkness. Jack! Mia cried out suddenly, and Lisa felt a twist in her heart. Behind them, a figure emerged, a slight silhouette colored by moonlight. It was Jack, a little disheveled but undeniably alive, his eyes gleaming with recognition. Mom! Mia! He shouted, and the shadows hissed in fury. I knew you'd find me. Jack! Lisa lunged forward, but Mia tugged her back. We need to be careful. It might be a trick. No, it's really him, Mia insisted. Just look. The shadows recoiled, and for the first time, Lisa could see the outlines of the forest shifting, giving them space. The light from their bond pulsed stronger, revealing the truth within madness. Jack! Lisa called again. You have to come to us. But Jack hesitated, glancing between Lisa and the grasping shadows. I don't want to go back. It's nice here. His voice was tinged with an unnatural lull. Mia! You need to remind him, Lisa urged. What did you love doing together? Jack! Mia called, her voice shaking, but resolute. Remember when we rode our bikes to the top of that hill? When we made that giant snowman? When we all camped out in the living room? Mom! Jack's brow furrowed, a flicker of recollection fighting against the shadows tugging at him like strings. And remember our promise? We would always find each other, Lisa shouted, her voice wrapping around Jack like a warm embrace. So fight. Fight for our love. The shadows surged, barking angry commands, but the light from Lisa and Mia glimmered, illuminating Jack's path. He took a step forward, breaking free from the ties holding him in place. No! I want home. Yes. Come home, sweetheart, Lisa cried, urging him forward. As if propelled by an invisible force, Jack bolted toward them. The shadows twisted, angered by his defiance, but Lisa felt an explosion of warmth wash over them, pure, unyielding love. Wrapping her arms around her children as they reunited, something shifted. The darkness howled in rage, pulsing with a force that pressed hard against them. But together they formed a barrier of light, illuminating the forest more brightly than the moon above. Together! Mia shouted, her voice ringing clear, resonating through the night. With a shout of defiance, Lisa raised her hands, commanding the shadows to retreat. You don't own us! Hear us! Jack added, strengthening the bond forged between them. They held on to one another tightly, the shadows shivering as their combined hope pressed against their dark presence. With a final burst of energy, the radiant light surged outward, engulfing the shadows in a wave of warmth. Screams pierced the air before the shadows skittered back into the depths, shriveling against the brightness of their love. Lisa felt the darkness dissolve, the weight of despair lifting slowly, like dawn breaking over the horizon. She opened her eyes, and the forest stood transformed, gentle and inviting, the cold grip of fear replaced by the warmth of the sun filtering through the leaves. We did it! Mia shouted, excitement filling her lungs. Jack rushed to them, a reality that felt real and whole once more. They embraced tightly, laughter mingling with the sounds of the forest birds chirping, leaves whispering, a new day blossoming. As they stepped back, something caught Lisa's eye. Among the trees was the cabin, no longer twisted but now resembling shelter rather than a prison. Maybe we can start over, Jack said softly, glancing back at Lisa. Together, she affirmed, heart swelling, a family emerging from the shadows, one forged in trials they would never forget. Together, they turned towards the cabin, leaving the haunting echoes of the forest behind, embracing the warmth. This was their moment, a new journey awaited, and they would face it as one, finally free. As they walked away, a single shadow flickered, but it no longer lingered. Lisa felt a surge of hope this time. They would overcome anything that dared shadow their light. If you loved this conclusion, you need to subscribe now so you don't miss more exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Every click makes a difference. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about the ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this gripping conclusion. Your support means everything,